A samurai fears not death, struggles to triumph over evil, and lives for one purpose: to destroy all enemies.
That sword cost 5,000 dollars!
When I started playing video games growing up, my game pool was strictly limited to whatever my older brothers had, and our main system at the time was the Super Nintendo. The first fighting games I was ever exposed to were ports of the famous arcade titles like Street Fighter II Turbo and Killer Instinct. I thoroughly enjoyed these growing up, even if full gore kinda scared the crap out of me and Saber Wolf gave me nightmares. But the fighting game I want to talk about today is the classic weapon-based fighter known as Samurai Shodown. If you don't know what Samurai Shodown, or SamSho, is, let me give you a brief history. Created by pioneer fighting game developer SNK, Samurai Shodown, known as Samurai Spirits in Japan, hit Japanese arcades in 1993, where it became a successful and popular competitive game. This led to ports of the game on pretty much every major console at the time, and today the original SamSho can be played on next-gen hardware as well. Samurai Shodown received many sequels after the initial game, and quite a few spin-offs as well, including an RPG never released outside of Japan. I had a similar wake-up call with this franchise like I did with the Mega Man X games, in which I didn't know there were all these sequels until way later, but I don't think that's my fault really. I mean, the majority of the games after the first were mostly only playable in the arcades or on the Neo Geo home console, and yeah, there's no way I was gonna get one of those as a kid. So I did eventually try all of them out, and they're all fantastic fighters, but the original will always hold its place as my favorite. Until Samurai Shodown 2019 came out. Yeah. This one's my favorite now. When the trailer first dropped in 2018, this blew my fucking mind. I was so excited for this game that I just watched, played, and breathed everything Samurai Shodown related up until its release. I learned more about SNK, started collecting their games, learned about the rest of the franchise. I went off. And now, over a year later, I still love this game and play it quite often. And I'm here to convince you why it's time for you to play it, if you haven't already. And with that, let's dive right into Samurai Shodown 2019. One of the most inviting things about Samurai Shodown is that it's pretty easy to learn. As an SNK fighting game from the arcades, SamSho really uses only 4 buttons and a joystick, as opposed to games like Capcom fighters that typically use 6. Your basic moveset consists of 3 levels of slash attacks being light, medium, and heavy, and a kick. Other techniques like parrying and grabs are done using combinations of 2 buttons or more depending on the move. I thought it would be fun for the first time if I used a fight stick to learn this game's controls with, so I found one cheap online, picked it up, and fired it up on my PS4. Now, it's the only way I play Samurai Shodown, and it's so much fun. I was born a bit after the whole arcade boom, so I don't really have any nostalgia or preference for using a controller like this, but something just feels right about playing with it, like it's a more interactive experience. And with the extra unused buttons on the stick, most moves outside of the basic attacks are mapped to at least one of them. But don't worry about buying a stick, it is not required to enjoy this game. A controller is just fine. When it comes to the gameplay of SamSho, one thing that makes it stand out from other fighting games is the rage meter. The rage meter is a mechanic that lets one build up rage as they take damage from an opponent. Once that rage is full and flashing, it gifts that player with some attack buffs. In Rage, normal attacks do more damage and some special attacks get boosted as well, like Kazuki's Exploding Death. You also gain access to a special attack when the rage gauge is full called the Weapon Flip technique. Everybody has one and it's the same input for all characters, which is nice. When used, your character performs a powerful attack that not only takes a sizable chunk out of an opponent's health, but disarms them as well. Nothing makes my stomach drop like hearing that music tone and I know I'm wide open and can't block the onslaught incoming. This gives the user a huge advantage because with no blade you're limited to punches and kicks, which are much weaker in comparison to sword attacks. Never bring fists to a sword fight, go pick that shit up fast. Or better yet, if you're unarmed, you can use the blade catch and throw your opponent's sword out of their hand. The final rage technique, and probably the most powerful of all, is the Isen, or lightning blade. If you hit all 3 punch buttons at once, you'll activate Rage Explosion mode, and a large meter will appear and slowly deplete over time. In it, you still deal boosted damage like in Rage mode, and you can even use a weapon flip technique. Hitting all 3 punch buttons again causes your character to rush across the stage and slash the opponent for damage based on how much of the Rage Explosion meter is left. Use it wisely because it can be blocked, and once you use it, your rage meter is gone for the rest of the match, so if you miss, that can be just as devastating. But this move is a game changer. There have been so many matches I've watched and played where it seemed like it was over until somebody rage exploded and caught their opponent off guard. Oh, you have some landing lag after you jumped and you can't block me in time? Boom! Game over in an instant with a slick and decisive slice that's so satisfying I can't help but get hype whether I'm on the giving or receiving end of the blow. So at this point, I'm sure some of you are thinking, yeah, seems cool, but combos are too hard and that's why I don't play fighting games. How am I supposed to remember all of that? Well, get this, there's like no combos in the game. Well, there are, but nothing like this. Yeah, that, I can't do that. Sam Show is a game that's more about defense than offense. And a lot of fighting game noobs have zero defense, including me when I started out. And through Samurai Shodown, I was taught the importance of having a good defense and understanding footsies. How, you ask? Because every attack in this game does like a bajillion points of damage. The name of the game is patience, and looking for openings where you can attack your opponent. Using safe moves like fast light attacks are so important, because if you so much as whiff something like a grab that leaves you locked in animation frames for a long time, it's enough for someone to just hit you with a heavy slash and eat, I don't know, about 20% of your health bar? Or even worse, you can lose about 80% via a super attack.
It was at this moment that he knew.
Super attacks are all-powerful techniques reserved for when someone makes a mistake that needs to be punished. Everyone has a different approach and requires an opponent to be positioned in a certain way. For example, Earthquake's special starts with an uppercut, so the best place to use it would be when someone is jumping towards him. These attacks are flashy and wicked combos that can be activated at any time during a match, but can only be used once, even if it misses. You can get hit by these and still survive though. In Samurai Shodown, no match is truly finished until the final blow. One of the reasons I love this franchise outside of its unique weapon-based fighting mechanics is the beautiful cast of characters. Samurai Shodown takes place in 18th century Japan, and a lot of the cast has their roots from that time. Naturally, they all fight with cool ancient Japanese weapons like katanas, kusarigama, a rock, but how does he cut me with the Isen though? The characters in Sam Show 2019 are a collection of some of the best fighters in the franchise, and they've never looked better. With the thick black outlines and the vibrant costumes, they all really stand out as individuals, not to mention the varying personalities from old favorites and newcomers alike. Like Haomaru, the samurai who just wants to fight strong opponents and drink sake. He's my main and just exudes confidence and a carefree attitude. My other regulars include Kazuki, the hot-headed flame swordsman, Yoshitora, the seven-sword-wielding protagonist of Samurai Shodown 5, and one of my favorites from the original game, Earthquake, the fat American ninja. He may be big and slow,
He can't jump high, but actually no.
let it be known that he is one of the few characters in the game with the ability to wall jump. And while wall jumping is a shared ability, there are some unique things that only some characters can do. Kazuki can store up to 3 flames to power up some of his special attacks. Galford can command his dog Poppy to attack for him. Yoshitora has a special move that can only be unlocked once he has hit his opponent with every one of his swords, and it is a screen-clearing, devastating beam slash that comes out of his sword. Some are easier to do than others, but I find that picking up a new character is always easy and fun because most movesets aren't overly complicated, unless you play Hanzo, and they all fit a different playstyle, so there's definitely somebody for everyone. But of course, when it comes to the meta, some characters are just better than others. And then there's people like Kyoshiro, who everyone is better than. Man, I loved this guy in the first game, and he was actually good. They did him so dirty! He's slow as hell, his moves are super punishable, he's easily the worst fighter in the game. It's okay, Kyo. I'll still play you. Just not in ranked. Like I mentioned earlier, Sam Show 2019 welcomes old and new fighters, and the new characters feel right at home in the Sam Show universe. Like Darlie Dagger, the carpenter that everyone thinks is a pirate, or Wu Reizhang, the clumsy server woman who summons a dragon with her mystical shield. Yes, you heard that right. I don't think there's a single character I could bring myself to hate in this game. And at the time of this recording, we're in the midst of Samurai Shodown Season 3. 2 out of 4 characters have been announced, with Cham Cham returning from Samurai Shodown 2, and a fighter from the last Blade series will be joining as well. But I can't help but feel that we're missing someone. Someone very important to Samurai Shodown. Okay, let me get this out of my system. There are 2 character slots left for Season 3. Actually, there's only 1 left because as I was making this video, they announced that a Guilty Gear character is coming to Samurai Shodown, so that's cool. Anyways, every character from the original Samurai Shodown game is in Samurai Shodown 2019, except for 2, those being the game's final boss, Amakusa, and only the best player in the whole game, don't at me, the Green Goblin himself, Shiranui Genon, is still not here, and that concerns me. This was the character I played the most back on the Super Nintendo, and he's such a fun character. He has a spinning wheel attack similar to that of Blanca, and he has this sick grab that when you do it, it just drills the shit out of people. He's so radically different from every other character, and that's exactly why he would be perfect for this game. He uses a giant claw to fight, and he's quite speedy. I would love to see a modern Genon. Come on, SNK. I know you want to. Do it. Do it. And they gotta bring back his stage too. And speaking of the stages, I love all of them. They're not as active as the ones from the arcade days where they were full of moving characters and background elements, but they each have their own flavor to bring to the table. Some of them are recreations of the original stages, complete with new remixes too. However, not every returning character got a new stage, like Earthquake's Dirty Desert stage from the original game. It's not here, and neither is this awesome theme, but he did get a new remix. The music of Samurai Shodown has a lot of modern recreations of traditional Japanese music. Its score ranges from songs that are serene and almost ambient, to fast-paced guitars and rock music, and some songs take elements from both genres to create a funky mashup that is both elegant and epic. I think Genjuro's theme is the perfect song to sum up what I mean by that. Go listen to that after this video. Also the song they used in the PAX trailer. I'll put them both in the description. When it comes to story, it's just like any other fighting game. You fight through a series of characters leading up to a rival battle, and a final boss at the end. It's pretty standard stuff. It gets repetitive, and unless you want all the artwork in the gallery of the game, I don't see a need to do this with every character. Of course, there's a training mode and online, where you'll probably spend most of your time. I don't know what it is with fighting games not teaching you how to play effectively, but it's kind of annoying. Yes, there's a tutorial so you get the basic understanding of all the moves, but it just stops there. Always with fighting games, YouTube channels and tournament footage are gonna be your teachers. As for the online mode, through my personal experience, it's okay. I want to say the majority of my matches I played have been solid connection-wise, but there are times when it can get a little funky. Sam Show does not have the best netcode in the world, but you can still play decent to flawless matches online a lot of the time. Also, it can have some lengthy load times, which can be kind of annoying, but honestly, I'm used to it at this point. But the main issue with Samurai Shodown is that nobody is playing this game. Now, I know there's still love and support for this game. I mean, we're getting a Season 3, but it definitely isn't as popular as it was in 2019. There's still more to come, so I wouldn't call it dead just yet. If Sam Show even slightly interests you, I'd urge you guys to play it. Whether you're a newbie like I was, oh who am I kidding, I'm still shit, or a fighting game veteran who wants to try something different, Samurai Shodown 2019 successfully brings the hype, rage, and glory of its arcade predecessors into the present day where it shines among other well-established franchises. Samurai Shodown is back, and it's time to embrace death once again. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. I love Samurai Shodown, and I wanted to show my support to a game that has given me countless hours of entertainment, and still does now. And with that, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Hit like and subscribe to see more from me in the future. Alright guys, peace.